It was the crowning moment of the Democratic National Convention, a passing of the torch, a changing of the guard at the top of the ticket. There were similar scenes on Monday at the beginning of the convention as Kamala Harris made an unannounced appearance. And there were tears too from Joe Biden as he made an unofficial farewell speech, a little over a month before the US president had voiced determination to continue his own re-election bid. His speech defended his achievements in office while heaping praise on Harris, harkening back to the day he tapped her to be his running mate in 2020.
Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career. Turn out for what?
A party-like atmosphere surrounded the convention roll call votes on Tuesday with state-specific songs, Lil Jon stealing the show for Georgia. And as the Harris ticket campaigned in Wisconsin, the Obamas were in Chicago. And both took the attack to the former president, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump.
His same old con, doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better. Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential.
It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
On Wednesday, Tim Walz, Harris's running mate, took center stage. Just a few weeks ago, much of America knew little about the Minnesota governor. His speech leaned heavily on his backstory as a former teacher and sports coach.
It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team.
Palestine will be free.
There were protests outside of the United Center all week, attended by thousands of people. The key demand, a permanent ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas conflict and calls for the US to cut funding to Israel. But for the most part, the demonstrations passed peacefully.
There was no shortage of high-profile guest speakers and performances by celebrity entertainers at this week's convention. But the focus for the DNC was always about Thursday evening, as Kamala Harris accepted the Democratic presidential nomination.
This was the most important speech of Harris's political career, and she quickly zeroed in on her Republican rival.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
Her speech outlined a choice for America.
And we know what a second Trump term would look like. But America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back.
It has been an extraordinary month or so for Harris, but the hard work of campaigning and appealing to undecided voters begins now. The race for the White House going into high gear. Dan Williams, CGTN, Chicago.